from the deep dark reaches of Star Trek Online comes Nikitas, Tabbytha, and Grebog with another episode of Fleet Action Report.
Hello, welcome to Fleet Action Report, where we don't just play the game, but we show you how to play the game. I'm Tabbytha. No Nikitas tonight, but here is Grebog.
All right, computer run program Fleet Action Report episode 244. Shields up, tanking with the Garret Dreadnought. That's right, we're going to dive into a build on the Garret Dreadnought and hopefully help you learn some things. Because, yes, gear is amazing, but I want to even go into some of the how and why when we do this.
Why?
And as always, though, your attendance, your lurking or talkative is appreciated. That is support enough alone, but any subscriptions also are appreciated. And if you don't want to give Twitch money, you can give coffee money, which is ko-fi.com/JerryBOG. And the nice thing about coffee is they well, one, it keeps you caffeinated. Two, they take less of a cut than Twitch.
I don't have any coffee tonight.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to cry.
Well then, Tabby, how's your week been and what have you been up to?
Just finished with midterms. Well, almost done. I've got my midterm project for web design is due on Monday, so I got to finish that up this weekend. But otherwise, I am kicking butt. My midterm grades came in, and I got 3 A's and a B. So I'm very happy. And otherwise, I've been playing some STO and playing a ton of Valheim.
I expect better. I mean, no, that's great. I was like, I could take my in-law side and be like, that B wasn't an A. They have some very high standards, and that's fine. But yeah, that's great. Good grades.
How's your week been?
I
know how some of it has been, but how is the rest of it?
What's my week? I don't even know what I told you now, other than the chaos in the real world.
Well, largely kind of being down with the sickness.
Oh well, that fortunately, I've been pretty good since last what I think Fridays really when I kicked out of it. So been pretty good since then. Back to my normal. I've still, I guess, I don't know if I'm still exhausted or if I'm just not sleeping well now. Yeah, it did kind of throw my sleep schedule out of whack a little bit because I essentially just slept when I could. But outside of that, let's see. I'm playing World of Warcraft as normal.
What?
My raid team.
I'm shocked.
Raid team has normal on farm. I would say we did a full clear +1 heroic boss on our Tuesday night raid, so that was fun. Getting all that knocked out. My shaman that I've been raiding with on a second group, he's nearly caught up to my tank on gear, and he started way behind on gear compared to my tank, which I'm just like going, yes, the luck of one tune versus the luck of the other. It's fine. In STO, I've been doing stuff and things, the standard stuff mostly, doing the event, getting my dailies knocked out, hanging out with people and their streams when I can, and yeah, having some fun with the game.
Nice.
And then the STO had a week. I know this is a little delayed. They announced this, I believe, last week. There's a new ship in the Infinity Lockbox. There is no special lockbox. They did not give it a special lockbox of its own. It's just in the regular Infinity Lockbox. It's the Kiith Intel Warbird. I'm guessing that's how you say that. Kiith, maybe.
Kiith. I don't know.
In the blog post, they didn't put that it had a Singularity Core. It does. I got confirmation from someone that had it. It has a 5.2 weapon setup. It is with an experimental weapon slot as well. It is like it's an escort. So it's got a Commander TAC / Intel seat, Lieutenant Commander Universal with that Temp Ops, Lieutenant Commander Science, Lieutenant TAC, and an Ensign Engineer. The consoles are 5 tactical, 2 engineering, 4 science. And this is why I pulled up the blog post, is they put in a trait or console universal Chrontiton flicker. Apparently I spelled it wrong in the post. I'll have to change that. Basically it does AoE radiation damage on target, which can strike up to 4 foes around in a 5-kilometer radius around that target. And it also debuffs all the foes that get hit and reflects incoming damage for 120 with a 120-second recharge. This sounds like it only activates for 30 seconds. Though people are not, I haven't heard much about the console, which means to me it's probably not spectacular. But people are questioning whether the reflect would be any good anyway, for the fact that they nerfed the crap out of feedback pulse way back and made it so that the player feedback pulse is meh. So they kind of figured that the basically built-in feedback pulse on the console would be meh. It comes with the Starship trait Corrosive Impact. Essentially, when you decloak for 10 seconds, you get a buff on weapon damage. Stacks with multiple hits on the same enemy. So that's basically it's the temporal energy is transferred to your weapons to create a corrosive dot to your weapons, which stacks with each hit. Okay, that makes more sense. The tooltip the description's not great. I haven't heard a lot about the. It comes with a new experimental weapon, which is the Entropic Agitator. As many of them, it has a 180-degree targeting arc, and this one does radiation damage. For 10 seconds, 75% reduced impulse speed and turn rate, and 25% reduced damage resistance rating. I'm pretty sure that is the dot that will get put on your target. It takes a 10-second recharge. Now, where I could see this experimental weapon shining is on if you're going to do a ship that has an experimental weapon slot, but do a oddly Sci build with it. Because with the radiation damage it does, a lot of science stuff boosts radiation damage. So that could work well with that. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't heard a whole lot about the weapon, so who knows? Might be worth testing out, though.
Oh, absolutely. Like everything's worth testing. Test your assumptions.
All right. Next up.
Bonus Dilithium event from March 28th, which is tomorrow, to April 1st. You get 100% bonus dilithium daily at the mining missions at Vlugta and Fleet Dilithium Mine. 50% bonus dilithium everywhere else. Although no bonus from reputation projects. And you have a 20% discount on ships in the quote-unquote dilithium store, aka the your friendly neighborhood Starship vendor. So all the ships that you would purchase with dilithium at the Starship vendor will be discounted 20%. And if you've been itching to pick up one of those dilithium vanity shields, now is the time. They are back during this event, during this period.
You're good. You caught my ad in on the fly.
It's almost like I'm reading the show notes.
Almost. All right. For those that don't know, Hold the Line at Pahvo is going on now until April 8th, which means you're running out of time. You no longer have enough time to get the completions done. You would need to be already a good way through. Yeah. And you need 14 completions to get the console, which is the event reward, which is a reflective crystalline shielding. Again, anything that does reflective damage, people question whether it's going to be. Again, it's another thing I haven't heard a whole lot about. So I would imagine it probably would have been noted if it. Yeah. Though it does have some energy damage resistance rating on it and some temporary HP when you use, well, like it, yeah, but it has a chance to reflect some damage. If you have no better other tanking console, it could be worth tossing on there for the extra damage resistance and temporary hit points. And the reflection would just mean you gain more threat. Because if something's hitting you and you're tanking, you reflect even 10% of that damage back. It's still more. And on top of that, you get 3 featured TFO reward boxes, which lets you choose a spec point or an enhanced universal tech upgrade. And of course, the 25,000 dilithium. This is part of the year-long event campaign, so you can be pushing your progression through the event campaign. So that way, you know, getting that the rewards at the end of the year, or when, you know, getting closer and closer. Yeah, that's the news for STO.
That's the news. Big news of the week.
Alrighty.
Primary target.
Ship. The ship. Hopefully you already picked up the Garret Command Alliance Dreadnought cruiser. I think you could probably still buy it out if you missed it. It doesn't show it for me in the whole event thing because I completed it, and yeah. It is a pretty decent ship. I like it. It comes with a good trait. It comes with a nice setup. Yeah. For weapons, I have selected the Baul anti-proton beam arrays, and this is primarily for the fact that they bounce everywhere and hit everything. And you'll see that when we show off the build in practice. It pretty much almost every tank build I know likes to go with the Baul anti-proton beam arrays for that simple fact. They hit all your foes, and they do decent damage, enough to get you a threat. And you can get these from the exchange, or if you have a lockbox weapon box, you can pick the Baul energy weapons and then pick beam arrays out of that, and you can get them that way. Yeah. The other weapon on the front here is the Dark Matter Quantum Torpedo, and this is primarily so we can get the 2-3 setup for or set bonus, and that can come in handy with scroll down on this. That gives you more crit severity, and it stacks up to 25%. Every time you crit, it gives you more crit severity, and it's one of the ways of generating threat. You'll notice this build has a lot of damage stuff, and that's all because you have to do damage to generate threat.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap between your DPS beam builds and a tank build. Yeah. Just because, like, you don't have, like, SEO really doesn't have any taunts. So you primarily tank by generating tons of threat, doing damage to build that threat, and getting things to punch you in the face. and you can't get things to punch you in the face if you hit like a wet noodle.
Yeah. All right, on the aft weapon slots, we have the omnidirectional Baul linked Sentry anti-proton beam array. Now, this is a little harder to get a hold of. It is a Lobi weapon.
Lobi sale.
Well, yeah, wait for a Lobi sale. We used to try to lean away from some of this stuff because, well, Lobi used to be kind of hard to get a hold of, but now with it being part of the event campaign, and they gave us 100 Lobi just from the anniversary freebie stuff. So now you might have some Lobi sitting around. It's normally a normal price is 200 Lobi, but now it's less. Now the benefit of this is we're going for the 2-piece again for the fact that it makes all anti-proton energy weapons gain the Baul refraction. So it doesn't matter what anti-proton weapons you're using, they all start having the Baul refraction, and you'll see why that's important here. And it also increases the damage of the Baul refraction by 100%, which is amazing. Baul?
The Baul? Or like Stargate, the Baul?
Yeah, you know. And then also the refraction, each shot chains to an additional target for 5% of attack damage. So it hits even more targets than it did before. So it's all about hitting everything, essentially. Now, this, the other Omni in the back here is the Herald Anti-Proton Beam Array. It's just another anti-proton. It's one of the better anti-protons out there for Omnis. It is not a set Omni. This is an event reclaim. So hopefully you got a hold of it. If not, I would just say grab any old anti-proton to fit in the slot. Like a crafted. But the Herald anti-proton beam array is a reclaim. Yes. So if you have it, use it. It's better that it'll be slightly better than the crafted, but not unless you're doing like really major things, you won't notice a difference. And then we have to fill in the last spot. Now this may seem a little weird. I have a Baul anti-proton turret. This too comes from the exchange or the Baul energy weapon box. You can pick get a turret out of that. Unfortunately, I think you have to pick cannons, and a turret may pop, which is not as frequent. Though if you have an extreme amazing luck like I did when I was opening one of those weapon boxes that I had sitting around, I got the turret on the first go. I was, like I said, that was extremely lucky. I'm not going to complain though. And the reason I put a turret in here is because with this build, there are things that will cause me to get free cannon scatter volleys, and this turret can take advantage of that. Yeah. All right, that's the weapons for the space set. You're gonna notice that I have the I guess they call it the Stamets Tilly Field Modifications 3 of 4 set. 2-piece gets you more hull regen. 3-piece gets you some free lightning that hits your enemies. It's just extra free damage, and also these we're using the deflector, the warp core, and the shields from the that set. So non-baryonic matter deflector, the mycelial harmonic matter antimatter core, and then Tilly's review pending modified shield. These are all from the Discovery reputation, so not hard to pick up and get a hold of, and you get a decent both a survivability boost with the 2-piece, and then more damage boost to everything that you're hitting with the 3-piece. For the impulse engine, it's the from the combat rep or competitive rep with the prevailing innervated impulse engines. Now, you could go with one of the other flavors. I have left it with this one. But this one is the one that went upon activating firing mode bridge officer abilities. You get speed, turn, and defense rating. 10% increased recharge speed on tactical bridge officer abilities. I have enough survivability other ways. I didn't go with the one that triggers off of like hull healing and engineering stuff. Because, yeah. And it's impressive on how much everything triggers in this build. I'll just say that. For consoles, we have the dynamic powered redistributor. This is a pure DPS console. It comes from the, let me mouse over it, the Atlas prototype Dreadnought cruiser, which is a mud bundle ship, or it's, Lockbox promo event choice option. Then we have a adaptive emergency systems, and as you can see, this is basically it's a survivability and gives you more survivability, though it also has some bonus all damage on it. So again, pretty good for all around. This one comes from so many ships. Sojourner, Operation Star Cruiser, Kalis War Battle Cruiser, or you can get it from the legendary Verity, legendary Bordusk, legendary Scimitar. They all have it as well. Yeah. Now we have the coordinated engagement solution. Basically, this gives 20% owned pets weapon fire cycling haste. You do have a hangar bay on this ship, so you're boosting your hangar pets a little bit here. This one comes with the ship, so it is a decent console to have a hold of. It also has basically a nice bonus all damage on use, some more damage resistance, and it helps your allies. You get extra per ally affected by it, and there's all kinds of nice buffs with this. And then we have the Voven console here, which is the subspace fracture tunneling field. This has a default 30% hull regen, which is on a tank build very handy. It also has the teleport around ability, or help you and reduce your console cooldowns. So once again, that's where having, if you don't want to teleport, you have. We talked about ways to get around that, so you can activate it without teleporting, or you can use it to help you move around the map. It's all up to you. Here we have the particle conversion matrix. This gives you more flight turn rate, which not a bad thing to have on a bigger ship like this, but it's more here for the shield resistance. Like on use, it gives more shield resistance, and incoming energy damage adds more energy damage for you, and exotic damage. Basically, the more you get hit, the more you hit them. Stop hitting yourself. And obviously, here's the Baul linked Sentry. Oh wait, that one comes from the Guardian Cruiser or the Mirror Guardian Cruiser, depending upon which way you want to go to get it. Now we have the Baul linked Sentry Coordination Matrix. This again it does more anti-proton damage, increases your hull capacity, and then it gives you the 2-piece for that, as we talked about on the the Omni Beam, because it's all about getting the 2-piece. So it's a 200 Lobby item, or 180 when it's on sale. So, or maybe might be less than that.
No, 160. 160. Yeah.
Then we have the Ion Storm Generator. It's more max hull and more shield hit points. And then it has an Ion Storm that you do AoE electrical damage. All the electrical damage and stuff. You'll also see other things. Also, if threatening stance is enabled, you gain more threat while the Ion Storm is going on. And that one comes from the Buran Command Dreadnought.
I say Buran.
Buran. not Bran.
Not Bran.
That's another game. And then we have the
weird.
Gemini device. It does plus 20% exotic damage. It's not really here for the exotic. It's because the allied ships that calls in all do a crazy amount. Like, they do a lot of damage. And this, fire cycle haste on this. This is a pretty good. It comes from the Premonition Temporal Science Spearhead. And then we have the Shield Absorptive Frequency Generator. When you get below 90% on any shield facing, you have a 2.5% chance per shot for all energy weapons to restore shields for 200% of outgoing damage. It's just a way of how many times you're going to sit at. If you're the tank, you're not going to be sitting at full shield facing on any side, probably. So this helps you basically keep your shields up. All right, here we have the Lorca's Custom Fire Control. This is that two-piece. I don't know that I went into the details on that two-piece. Basically, oh yeah, I did. Get you more of that crit severity, more damage. Well, yes, and it helps your power setting, and it has some crit chance on it. Yeah. We have the Fakiri Torment Engine. This has basically a bunch of increased non-hazard damage over time, which you heard me talk about some of the other dots that we're doing out there. This also has an increased fire, radiation, plasma, and physical damage. Physical is a big part of this ship build, though. Yeah, it's not the only thing. It takes advantage of torpedoes and physical. It doesn't necessarily. It's yeah. But yeah. And then for the hangar pet, I went with the Type 7 shuttlecraft. It is currently one of the best in game right now. Yeah. And if you don't have, like, I get people don't have the dynamic power or DPRM, you can get Domino. That comes from a Bajoran Interceptor, which most of you can grab a hold of now, because I believe that we all have been given ways to get a hold of it, because I think that's in the Phoenix.
No, we were given a free Epic token last year.
Yeah. And event campaign and yada, yada, yada. And hey, Crispers. Traits. Oh, do we want to choose traits or powers? Bridge off. Let's do powers. So with this setup, I have a Lieutenant Commander Science, it's a universal slot, but I put Science in there mainly because I want Gravity Well 1, and then because it's temporal, we have Chronometric Inversion Field 1 and Heisenberg Amplifier 1. And this is all for triggering a universal or a personal trait, unconventional systems. All good stuff to help trigger that, and then that's also why on the Lieutenant Science seat it has Scramble and Tractor Beam 1. Those two also are control effects, also there to trigger unconventional systems. In the Ensign Universal, I technically you can put it on another seat, but basically, in one of your tactical instance spots, you want Chemosite-laced weaponry 1. In the Lieutenant Commander tactical, I have Torpedo Spread 3. Yeah, I have the 23rd century version, but it doesn't matter which flavor you have. Torpedo Spread 3 is what you want. And then you obviously want Attack Pattern Beta 1 and Fire at Will 1. Now, this may seem weird.
It does seem weird. Why?
But this is all about triggering entwined tactical matrices, and you're going to notice that with Fire at Will 1 even and Torpedo Spread 3, you're going to be firing lots of torpedoes and lots of beams all the time. Everything's going to be going all over the place. In the Command Engineer seat, I have Suppression Barrage 3 This is to debuff your enemies, keep them in one spot, and limit their damage done. It means you'll take less damage, your friends will take less damage. I mean, you're hitting everything, and this helps you like debuff your enemies because your weapons suppress the target for 20 seconds, decreasing their outgoing damage, flight speed, turn rate, and accuracy. I mean, you're hitting everything, so everyone's going to, yeah. Now, this depends on your fly style, honestly. The Eject Warp Plasma 1. It's another good way of controlling your enemies and slowing them down in basically space molasses. But that's the main reason is to you're going to be flying around and you're just basically going to drop this on them and slow them down and yeah. Hey, Goofball.
Good morning, Goofball.
And then we have emergency powered weapons 2. This is of course because, more power, more damage.
More power to you.
And then obviously we have emergency powered engines 1, and that's for triggering that hologram to get you free evasive maneuvers. Now for traits. I'm tactical, so I have a good day to die. Not everyone is tactical, so they may not have this.
There are no good days to die if you're not tactical.
Apparently. Basically, let your go down fighting be used at any hull integrity and not just when you're low. It's a nice trait to have. Tacticals note. If you're tactical, this is a trait you should go buy, period. It's kind of, I don't want to say must have, but it kind of is. It's highly, highly recommended.
I don't have it.
It's highly recommended. Now I do have brain shield tunneling. This comes out of the newest Lockbox. It is a bit pricey probably right now. I would probably wait for it to drop because people will flood the market. Maybe it's cheaper now. I don't know. Because traits, when they're first introduced and they're pretty amazing like it is, you wish, Crispers. You really do wish.
It's a lowest price on the exchange right now is 100 mil.
Now it's dropped quite a bit. Then it was at 350 when I was once looking, and I'm like, eh. But I took advantage of having. I think the keys they gave us, and I procced a brain shield tunneling. This has kind of become one of the new meta traits. Because it has shield pen on it, armor pen, and then it drops your target's shield capacity. It's a pretty good trait. If you don't have some of the things that I'm talking about that's boosting damage, there are always
shield tunneling is 100 million. Let's see, a good day to die is 43 million.
Which isn't terrible. It's
yeah. Most of the good space traits are generally around 40 mil.
Yeah, 40 to 50 mil is typically where I see them float. Duelist Fervor, another Lockbox trait. Like almost, I think everything I have recommended. Here, I should do that. So everyone can follow along. Anyone with link, copy the link. There we go. If you want to take a look at the build. So I have Duelist Fervor. This is another damage booster. It's a pretty good one to have. There are always other traits you can slap in, and I'll cover some of the optional or alternatives once we get through this. Another damage boost. Fireball escape, because you're blowing stuff up or getting stuff blown up around you, because this essentially makes you immune to kinetic damage to warp core breach after being hit by a warp core breach, and yeah, it boosts your turn rate, flight speed, It's basically trying to make it so you don't die from warp core breaches. If you do a lot of having issues of getting away from warp core breaches, highly recommend Fireball Escape. Fragment of AI tech. This one works with the control expertise. It gives you control expertise and energy damage from control expertise. So it kind of stacks upon itself and helps you. Yeah. You can get a max of 30% at 300 control expertise. Obviously, we didn't dip high into control expertise in this build, but we have some, and it's always good. Did they fix it? In a good way, hopefully. Intelligence Agent Attaché. This is another good trait to pick up. It's another DPS trait on weapon criticals. It restores 2% of your captain ability. So ways to get more stuff from your captain. This is a trait most people are probably not going to have, or maybe depends on if you picked up the, what was it I said, the 14th anniversary Wolf 359 bundle. If you bought the entire bundle last season or last year, it gave two traits. One was a ground, one was space, and it's the liberated Borg Kingdom nanites, or nanoprobes. Oh, why did it? Oh, I clicked it and it went away. And this gives you a damage resistance that grows, and it also gives you crit severity with energy weapons. That also grows. I think as long as you're in combat, it grows up until plus 20 on each. Terran targeting systems, another great DPS trait, but some people don't like it for the fact that it gives you plus 15 crit severity, but if you get critically hit, you slow down. So some people don't like it because it can slow you down. This is a Lobby trait and one we've talked about many times. The Boimler effect. If you don't have it, I highly recommend when there's a Lobby sale and you have some Lobby to pick it up. It's great. It helps your recharge times for your bridge officer abilities. It really is a good trait to have. Unconventional systems. Now in this build, this is a must-have. Because we're using. That's why we have some control effects, and basically using any control bridge officer ability cuts 7% recharge off of your universal consoles. You're going through and basically trying to get your consoles back up as fast as possible. That's the whole point of unconventional systems. I didn't have some, like, there was another trait recommended because originally this build came, I got inspired by, I believe it was Nick NB's build on this, and I altered it some because I didn't have one of the traits he has.
I pray that you don't alter it further.
Yeah. So I went with another survivability trait called Whole Lotta X's. Basically, if damaged well below 25% hull, you will receive more hit points, and your shield regen will go way up for each facing. Basically, it is a nice, if shit's getting thick, it can keep you alive. Whole Lotta X's is a pretty good trait. If you're feeling extra squishy on a ship, I honestly would recommend a Whole Lotta X's as a one trait to help solve your squishiness. Fake. I was gonna say, do you tell him that? I'm gonna say, knowing Crispers, yes, he tells him that. So here on the Starship traits, you're gonna notice a lot of, again, DPS traits. Emergency weapon cycle, which comes from the Arbiter. DPS trait. Ship of the Line, Legendary Avenger. just another DPS trait. Superior area denial. Let me drop down to that. That one helps with your, like, you know, when activating fire at will and scatter volley. This build is about getting fire at wills and free scatter volley. Basically, it grants that to your hanger pets. Your hanger pets get those as well whenever you activate. Entwined tactical matrices. This is a big, on the way this ship is built. This is a big must-have for the build. Essentially, when you activate torpedo spread, you get a free fire at will one, and scatter volley one. And that is why having that turret on the aft slot may seem weird, but it gets a free scatter volley whenever you're torpedo spreading. And then whenever you're activating fire at will or scatter volley, you get a free torpedo spread one. So those kind of work together. And then let's see, history will, and that one comes from the Gagarin.
History will remembers the
no, entwined is the yeah. Actually, history will remembers legendary ambassador Intel support cruiser Narendra support cruiser. But the entwined,
support cruiser.
Yeah, support cruiser. Get the support
also
cruiser.
the Voral.
Voral. Yep. All in my show note. Legendary Vorcha, you know.
Lots of ships.
Lots of ships. History.
Some legendary, some easy to get. I recommend that support. Actually, I recommend the Voral slightly over the Narendra.
And history
better, and you have cloaking.
History will remember is essentially every time you take damage, every time you get hit by an enemy, for each foe that damages you, you gain 1 stack. 30 stacks is the max, and it's 1% all damage, 1% hull regen, increases your max hull by 1%, and then you get more threat. It's a great tank trait. Like you're supposed to be you're supposed to be taking the hits, so this gives you boosts to help you even. And then we have Thunder Run. Now this one, a lot of people probably won't have. I picked this on my event campaign ship for this captain this last year. It comes from the Connie 3, and that is a lockbox ship. Or like you can do what I did and choose it as your premium choice event campaign ship. Essentially, you during fire at will, beam overload, or cloak ambush, you get a bonus to your 20% bonus beam damage, and you get defense rating, which scales on your speed. And if you're in threatening stance, it gives you even another 150% more threat. So it's to help you get more threat. Now, this last trait's a new one. It comes from the Garrett, the ship that we're flying. And basically, to allies and self within 5 kilometers, you give out maximum hit points by 10% plus 5% per ally within the range. And then you give plus 10% max shield capacity and plus 5% per ally within range for max 35% on both of those. Basically, as long as people are staying close to you, you can you get a nice big beefy buff to help you stay alive and keep them alive too. Space reputation traits. A lot of the DPS ones, though there's a little difference here. Like we have advanced targeting systems. That's crit severity. Here's one that normally don't pick up in a DPS build, which is the advanced hull reinforcement. Basically bonus all damage resistance rating. Then we have here magnified firepower, a standard also for DPS. It gives you flat DPS. Tyler's duality, more crit chance, and all capacity, which is nice. And then we have here precision, because again, more crit hit chance, always good. Some of the stuff we have on the ship depends on crit. So that's the gear. While, like I said, while this build has a lot of survivability, I mean, it's a tank, it also needs to do a fair amount of damage, which is why there's so much of the DPS stuff. Because if you're not holding threat, you're not a tank. Yeah. Now, some of the alternatives to some of the personal traits, I would say Beam Barrage, Beam Training, if you need more damage traits to fill in for the ones that are missing. Bulkhead Technician if you want a survivability. If you feel that if you're missing some of the ones that have the plus threat. Menacing, which is another lockbox trait that can help you get more threat. Some alternative Starship traits, improved critical systems, which is always nice. You can go with unconventional tactics, though I don't know that you'll fully get advantage of it here because, you'd have to, whenever you hit brace for impact, it would turn it into a DPS cooldown. It depends on how much you like to use something like that. Another good one for DPS would be redirecting arrays, though I don't know that you need, I didn't put it because it's a fire at will extender, essentially. And with the way this ship is built with entwined tactical matrices and unconventional systems and the Voven constant subspace fracture tunnel, you're likely not, you really don't need it because you're going to have fire at will uptime extremely high. If you are struggling to keep your fire at will uptime up, you can choose redirecting arrays. But yeah, this, like I said, the build utilizes unconventional systems, hence all the control bridge officer powers, and entwined tactical matrices for free torpedo spreads and fire at wills. So yeah, those two are basically some cooldown reductions there to help you keep throwing torpedoes and firing at will as much as you can. All the fun and games, and also unconventional systems helps, the Voven console helps your consoles come off cooldown faster too. This build feels very fun. Do we want to?
Why don't we show people how fun it is?
Do we want to do the event space daily, or do you want to just hit a patrol to show?
Let's do the event space daily.
All right. Peril over Pahvo.
Peril.
Wayoon.
Wayoon.
And as you can see, when purple is an option, why would you not choose purple? I can actually do the satellites this time. I'm a tactical.
I'm a tactical too.
All right, turn threatening
We've
stance
got the,
on. Wow, we have all tactical and one Sci. That's interesting.
All right, let's look. Looks like we've got a Lexington or Odyssey.
And I know with the events being normal, this isn't going to give you a full perspective, but you can see at least the operation of it. Where are you going?
I'll go Gamma. Gamma.
I'm going to go down the back line. Ah, I went too far.
Oh no.
I can't stop. Oh. They did not do that satellite.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Why am I? Oh, I'm healing. I triggered something because I got too close to a friend and started healing. All right, all satellites are done. I think you have a friend down there, don't you?
What's that?
Oh, it looks like you have a friend down there.
Get ready. Warning. Ship is under attack. 4 shields failing. Rear shields failing.
Like, this still does a fair amount of damage, as you can see. There were enemies here. There are not.
I've just kind of posted myself halfway between the satellites. That way I don't have to move.
Yeah, I love that I can hit things that aren't even in my range if just one of the ships are in range.
Because of the bouncy beams.
Yeah.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
All the torpedoes. But I didn't talk bridge off or duty officers. Duty officers, I went with crit severity on. Well, I one, there's Agent Nerul, who is one of the ones that does attack pattern beta. That gives you basically whenever you hit attack pattern beta, your damage heals you. It's not a terrible one to have in general, just for the fact that typically you're always using attack pattern beta and in a lot of builds, and that extra heal can save your butts. A new one is Dalrel, or how you say his name?
Or
he gives you some damage boost and some survivability both, which is kind of nice to have. And then obviously the emergency con hologram is a good one, because every time you hit your emergency powered engines, you can reactivate. Like here, I'll hit it. Yay! Evasive maneuvers is no longer on cooldown. Yeah. And then after that, I filled in with stacking crit chance and stacking crit severity. You can either go with torpedoes or energy weapons on those, depending upon what you have. I kind of split between torpedoes and energy because I only had good quality on this captain from one of each. So it didn't quite, this may not be the, I guess, most optimal build, but it definitely works pretty good.
Target's shields have failed.
Well, not all of us can afford optimal. So it's good to kind of have options.
And that's why I like to put in alternative stuff. And then also I wanting to go into the this is why this is picked. Like this is for DPS. So if you're looking for more, you have something else that does damage, you can slap that in there in the place if you didn't have the other. And as you can see, I'm not good at keeping my hanger pets alive, but I mean, it's... Oh,
It's fine.
why did that get turned off? My threatening stance was off.
What?
Where you going, buddy? All right, now as long as the science person doesn't do anything.
Too late. Actually, science person grabbed 3 before while I was getting 1, so my side has 3 science turrets. Yep.
And he got all the way down to this. For those that don't know, science only gives everyone tractor beams. And it's not the bestest. But it's better than engineering, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for engineers.
Yeah, sorry, goofball. Your Pahvo ability sucks.
Heads up. The enemy flagships are coming to attack.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Here, if that guy's just gonna sit over there, maybe I'll just sit over here. Oh, no. That was the wrong choice, apparently. I'll actually teleport over there.
Under attack. Target's
That's the nice thing about having the choice. Do I want to teleport or do I just want to?
Target's shields have failed.
I'm using the teleport to get me from one group to the other. Just
Yep.
have some gas, buddy.
Target's shields have failed.
Just an ordinary gas cloud. But wait. That's no ordinary gas cloud.
And here you can see why Fireball Escape could be good, because I was right in the middle of all that. and I took no damage from it.
There's a couple of consoles that I was missing, so like one of my swap-ins was hull image refractors.
Oh, I think I forgot to mention, I'm using also the two consoles I didn't talk about are the energetic protomatter matrix infusers. There's two of them, obviously anti-proton flavored. You pick them up from the base, your fleet colony. Very handy to have, very good consoles. Great for tank builds. They just give you hull healing, shield regen, and then they normally give projectile weapon damage and also an energy damage type of your choice. So if you like anti-proton for this build, then that's the way, obviously pick that flavor. A lot of tank builds use those consoles for just the simple fact that they are great for that added the added damage and hull healing and whatnot, and then you can get a little extra DPS boost out of them too.
And on what is normally a slow kind of hard to maneuver tank, that fracture tunnel is really nice to have.
And I'm trying to keep as full throttle as I can on this because, as you saw, I have Thunder Run in here, which I do if I'm full throttle, going as fast as I can. The benefits from that is good. Oh, you banned someone while I was talking. I didn't even notice. Thank you for that.
You're
Well
welcome.
We'll continue to ready our defenses here. If they come back, we'll be
I
ready.
don't even know what marks I need.
Keeping Pahvo safe is important. You've done a lot today to make that happen. Thanks.
Sure. All right. Anyone have questions about the build? I need to, if I copy this, I wonder if it'll copy properly. Close, good enough. It's there now. It's my, why how the build works the way it does, and I put it in the description on the spreadsheet for everybody. If you have questions, feel free. We did not decide on a topic for next week.
Uh-oh.
What is next week? Well, the event's still going on next week. So we won't have a new event yet.
Hopefully we'll have like new shinies to talk about.
Hopefully. I'm trying to think. There was something we were talking about possibly doing, and I can't remember what it was now. I guess.
Do we want to do a walkthrough of the Pahvo ground thing? Because
Sure. Oh, we were talking about doing a ground build. Because I talked about how I may have. So you know how we did a keybind episode? I fully implemented my ground keybind, and I have gotten to a point that certain of my captains who couldn't solo one of the ground Pahvo like crystal things, I can now solo one of those, which to me has been a nice thing to like bolster my, hey, I'm doing things pretty good, all right, I know for some of you that's probably, not uncommon, but it was it was certain captains that I was like struggling with before. Having a nice little keybind for ground made it so much easier. But yeah, we might be doing a ground build next week. We'll have to talk to Nikitas and see what's up, what he thinks. I know we talked about it because Agamis. I'm using Agamis in that build, and it makes me happy to hear the Agamis maniacal laughter. You know. I don't even know. I'm now curious on how much that costs, but we can do that off stream. So yeah, potentially next week we'll be doing a ground build. It will maybe be an update to the drone ground engineering build that we did in the past.
You should love that goofball.
Because engineers are great with drones and such.
Hashtag Team Engineer.
But I think that's our
That's a
show.
show.
Thank you everybody for coming hanging out while we did the show. I will get this up on YouTube sooner than later, or something like that. It'll go up tonight. But with that, yeah.
Be
Again,
fun, have safe, and don't set yourselves on fire.
Live long and prosper, everybody. Stick around. We will be sending you somewhere to someone. So, computer, end program.